Well, then maybe she is. What days are her class usually? I thought they were Tuesday and Thursday. Okay. Okay. Well, if there is no questions about running the group, leading the group, we'll get back in it, or observing it. Yeah, that's your first assignment. How many want to do like a mental health group observation? And then how many of you want to do the online AA meeting or online Al-Anon meeting, Al-Anon family groups? Yeah, I know. I think that would be better and cool. Maybe Dr. Hunt? Or do you have any ideas elsewhere? Okay.
I was going to look around the Zen, but I couldn't ask Dr. Hunt.
Right. That would be awesome if you looked around the zine. I don't mean to thwart your efforts to.
Do you think you can do juveniles?
I think so. You probably would have to sign like confidentiality, let them know you're a student, that type of stuff, but you could certainly try.
I'm trying to do an internship this summer at a juvenile detention center.
Do they pay?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Where is it at?
Somewhere in Flint. That's all I know.
Flint, Michigan?
Yeah.
With good water now?
Listen. Listen, I don't. I
Okay.
get Detroit one. I don't know.
Right.
That's
Right.
I'm a part of that.
I know. It makes you wonder too.
But honestly, I don't
crazy.
know. That's a really good question.
Yeah. That's cool though. Hopefully you get that. Is it like teens per hour or even?
I gotta look into that.
Okay. That's cool. I like that. Well, and we will offer a lot of summer courses too. I don't know if you guys, I guess if you're in this one, you don't need anything.
What summer courses?
We always offer something, but we have to have enough students. We offer this one, we offer HBSE, we offer
What
forensics.
about that statistics behavioral class?
I feel like they offer that in the summer.
Because I need to take it.
Now it's only 4 hours, and if you want the Pell Grant, you need to add either one more class or 2 more hours, something like that.
So you'd have 2 classes during this.
That's how you get a Pell Grant. Otherwise, you don't get any funding for summer. So just always make sure to have 2 classes.
I mean,
Hell, even if you're retaking something, I don't know if they check on that with the Pell Grant.
I might just have to do that. I mean,
Yeah, say you're retaking it for a better understanding of how to do the social work skills. But I think what year you all graduate in a year?
Yeah, 27.
Damn. All of a sudden that seems so soon.
No, for real.
Like Tuesday, it seemed so far away. And now today I'm like, wait a minute, that's in a year. Holy shit.
I've been
Okay.
excited and nervous. And
Yeah.
anxious and
Right. You will do awesome. It's just maybe when you said junior, I'm thinking, okay, it's like you started the second half of your schooling, but no, we're in the second half of the third year of your schooling. So it's a year and a few months. You'll be graduated. If you do, I know. You'll do if you do Dr. Hunt's job, you could be paid $10,000. Do they pay that now? Or is that when you finish? The child welfare grant. Anybody interested in doing that?
never thought about that.
I think that's why they pay you, because it's hard work. You know, you're working for CPS, really. So, and then you dedicate a year when you graduate, but it would be paid. They probably pay 52,000 a year, 50. What jobs are you all looking for in a year and 3 months if you got one? Grad school? That's what I did for my first job.
I'm definitely going to grad school.
Yes. It is an extension of schooling, and you can get like a graduate assistantship. You can get, all of that stuff. But, all right, I have several of these about groups. One big thing is the legal, multicultural, and ethical issues that come up. Do you guys get an ethics class? I feel like ethics comes in Social Work 101 and hello. Right. Yeah. You can download the Code of Ethics at the website. That is your key thing to have forever, the rest of your life. So, did I seriously just some of these PowerPoints I actually had narrated because we taught this class at the University of Cincinnati. But this one has legal and ethical things. Basically, it's showing where the law intercepts with ethics. So the confusing part about this is that you got the law over here, you got ethics over here, and sometimes they overlap. And because it's the first day I'm teaching this semester, can anybody help me think of somewhere it's law, but not an ethical concern? Law and ethics overlap, shooting somebody in the head, killing them. That's where ethically, do no harm. Legally, we have laws against killing somebody. Then you might have the ethics like Good Samaritan law. You see somebody on the side of the road, but you're late to class and you got to get there fast. You don't have to stop and help them. Some people do. I'm trying. Anybody think of another better example? I'm just warming up today. I was sharing. I think only half of you were here. Yesterday, my dad fell hard, and we all had to rush and get him to the emergency room and sew up his head like that. So it was all fucked up. And he didn't need a skin graft. He's 80. He is doing okay now. But I think it freaking hurts. And I had to help him down the steps. So I got to go to Cincinnati first. Then I drive up here. So I drive 38 minutes south and then an hour and some north. And so my brain's just warming up right now. I think I was traumatized by it too. Because you're like, if he caught the edge of one of them steps, it was brick, and I think he just caught the little edge of the brick, but your weight pushes it and it just ripped it open. Like, yeah. And he's on blood thinners. He's 80, so you could bleed out, but there is a phone person there. He took out the trash he shouldn't have. He still wants to do everything independently, and I guess finally he can't now. So my brain's not all the way here, but
I'm sorry you had
yeah, I'll go see him here after class too, if my car charges enough. That's the other thing. I got to get 200-mile range. Ethics we learn from our parents sometimes. So everybody learns it differently. Maybe from the church, maybe from our parents, maybe from a big brother or sister, a good friend in your life. Law, we may learn by getting in trouble. Sometimes, when I was a kid, I'm like, I didn't know that I wasn't allowed to hold a beer for somebody else. And I was 15. They're like, yeah, you're 15. You can't hold a beer at a concert. I'm like, I was just holding it for him. He's going to the bathroom. And they didn't believe me, so they arrested me. So sometimes you find out the law by, ignorance. I probably did know I wasn't allowed to hold the beer, but I'm like, I wasn't drinking it. They didn't believe me. So law, you could know it before you get in trouble. Some people, and you know how they always say ignorance of the law is no excuse. What example do they give for that? Is it like dumb littering or speeding? I don't know. I didn't know what the speed limit was. I've done that before too.
driving while drunk, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. So any other ones? Anybody?
I guess robbery.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe you're like stealing it to feed your family. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be armed robbery, but you're just taking some bread and taking some milk. You could be arrested. I know we do have lots of food
Armed
assistance.
robbery, though. Armed robbery. Like killing people.
I shouldn't.
taking stuff.
Right. Yeah.
That's a different story.
Right.
Why are you doing all of that? You could have just took everything in.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are. Let me see if I can. Of course, it doesn't want to work now. I don't know why we made it a soccer ball. I'm sorry. I forget. Maybe just to colorize it. So the law's orange. Ethics are. I don't like that one though, because we always say ethics are not black and white. Usually ethics is like a gray line that you just don't know. Like in grad school, they give you a bunch of ethics questions. I guess my preschooler was just asked to leave the school too. My wife said he's getting in trouble. So
You have trouble with that.
I think so. Yeah. I can't remember the last time I had said he'd gotten in trouble that she had to pick him up. I feel like it was last week though. But are you thinking last semester? Maybe he got in trouble last semester.
No. When we had class
So
Tuesday, you told us that he got in trouble. He got suspended.
It was his first day back, right? So that was last week. She had to go pick him up, and then she's got to take the kindergartner out because it's so late. Oh boy, that's fun. And these things come up while you're doing your social work practicum. All of our, personal things do come up, and then keeping your shit together is sometimes the hardest part because you're like, I got to go help my family. I got to go. Okay, ethics defined as suggested standards of conduct. So you don't have to do it. You don't have to, be a good person. They're based on professional values. So in social work, we do have the NASW Code of Ethics. You can download it for free. They have these 5 big words. If anybody could tell me what any of those are. Autonomy, beneficence, non-malfeasance, justice, fidelity, and veracity. I feel like the next slide might define them. If not, I will try to. So the Code of Ethics are created by organizations. There's also the Association of Group Work. So that's what this citation is, the Association of Group Work Counselors, Best Practice Guidelines. So they get in there to refer to the ethics that we do and follow. So some of the major ethical issues, training of group leaders. This is a big one. So this is partly why I have you guys lead a group in this class, because you have sometimes no other training whatsoever about the class. And you could interview and say, I have led a group before, and it was in my groups class here at Central State University. It could be in grad school. We do the similar approach in grad school. So training groups leaders are big. Often you'll be an intern. They throw you in and say, run that group. And you're like, oh. By doing it in undergrad and graduate school, you get a chance. You get your first bite at the apple. You get to run a group. It's only for an hour. It's at least something. Because otherwise, I don't think I ever had to run a group in school, and I wish I had because, hello? They want you to lead a group. I think I told you guys how much money they can bill off a DUI group that has hundreds of participants. They can bill $33 per person in that group. So if it's 100 in there and they run it at a big auditorium, I know Talbert House would run the DUI groups that way, or maybe like anger management groups. They make more money off of those than they do on one-on-one counselors. So training of group leaders, you all get to be trained here this semester. You'll observe a group in the next few weeks. You'll observe your first mental health group or an AA meeting or Al-Anon and write about it. And then you'll lead a group right after that. You'll lead your first mental health group. Another major ethical issue, screening of potential members. So screening, we ran what was called a trauma group at Lighthouse Youth Services. And I'm going to take my own notes here. Do you guys ever use the AI note taker?
No.
It's pretty slick. I don't know how many programs have it, but you can record it to the cloud. Maybe Central pays for this. And if they're broke, maybe this is my last chance to get to use it. And then you have AI write it up for you. So you got notes. Okay. So screening, when we ran the trauma groups, we only wanted clients that were ready to do trauma group, like that they had adequately been traumatized and ready and willing to work through that trauma. They were going to work through their trauma. And the group was 10 weeks. And I say it that way is a lot of times their counselor maybe didn't want to deal with them, so they just push them into the trauma group. Like, dude, you need to go to the trauma group. And they show up, and sometimes if you're not ready to deal with trauma, you act out, you behave. We're talking 12 to 15-year-old kids. So if they're not ready to be in that group, they act up. And so we, not necessarily kick them out, but say, now is not the right time for you, and you could come back when we run it. They always try to run a group 4 times a year. So say it's 10 or 11 weeks and you get a week off, and trauma would do like sensory based activities and working through the trauma. So screening them was part of it. Like if we told them they weren't ready, it wasn't bad on their part. It was just maybe their counselor pushed them into it. Another ethical issue could be like the rights of group members. How do you, and that runs into the next one, confidentiality. How do you keep, we as counselors have to be confidential. As social workers, we keep confidentiality, but how do you keep another group member from sharing other person's business? How would you do it?
I don't know, maybe like, I don't know, cause I can't directly, I can't choose what other people want to do, but I know I would enforce the confidentiality within my group, or like maybe some type of paperwork that lets the group know that like what happens in the group stays in the group and don't take it anywhere else.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Like you said, I second that. I feel like if somebody wants to do something, they're going to do it regardless, and they're going to take like the extra precautions to do it. So the most you can do is make sure like it's enforced and like there's consequences for the actions, because that's really all you can do. Because if they want to do it, they gonna do it. Like people go to nursing school for all that time just to break HIPAA laws and let it all go down the drain. So if somebody want to do something, they gonna do it.
Anybody been in one of Dr. Hunt's groups before? She might be a good example of how you can request they keep it confidential, but we're the only ones bound by law. So maybe that's where the ethics and the law overlap. So ethically, that's not cool to be talking about somebody's stuff when you were saying, what is heard here, let it stay here. They'll probably say that in the AA meeting. And more so if you know the person, you're like, you believe I saw them in that meeting and they've got 30 days sober, and it's like, dude, that was confidential. But if you don't have a license, there's no real way to hold you accountable. Like, I guess you could be asked not to come back to the group. Next one example is personal and dual relationships. Anybody know what those are? We did research on this because there is none for academicians. But counselors and social workers have a stricter enforcement of a relationship with a client than doctors and lawyers do, which I thought was crazy. It's like for life, and doctors and lawyers might be 2 to 5 years. And so the explanation for that is like if we are shrinking their brain or being a counselor to them, you get them in a vulnerable position. So you know a lot about them that you have to keep confidential. And if then you're going to try to hit them up, it's against the law. So it's the board of ethics will take away your license. You know what I mean? Like that's academics, you see teachers marry students all the time. I know that sounds crazy, but I think it has happened even at this very campus. I don't know. I think so. So, because there is no law and no like license or something to hold accountable. Now, maybe the education majors have a ed license, and social work, we have a license, but if you teach and you have no real other way, if there's no law on the books, and a lot of times there's not, most social work agencies have it in clear writing. When you read your policy, when you're an intern, it will say that right there. You're going to see all of this stuff listed because usually because they've run into this stuff before. That's when a law gets made, because somebody ran into that. So dual relationships also could be, anybody have a good way to describe what a dual relationship is? Maybe it is what we just talked about. You're both a teacher and a husband to somebody, like, or and then last few are use of group techniques, the leader's values, because those could all change too. Record, so like record keeping. A lot of times, like the insurance companies hold you accountable if you don't write a good note, or like Medicare, Medicaid. So that's why we stress in like 3 or 4 different classes how to write your social work notes. And then closure and following up. So these are all the things that kind of come up. Closure is hard because I think I've told you all I work for a hospice. If somebody dies, it's a little easier for closure. I guess you still have their family that you're following up with. But if it's some, especially adolescents, say they're 18, 19, 20, learning how to just do life, and you want to set them free and let them fly, you've got to terminate, close, and let them go. You're not going to be their counselor. I know some people keep counselors for years and years and years and years. I like short, brief, goal-focused therapy. So there's completion. So now, okay, second half, legal issues. Law refers to a body of agreed upon rules that society set forth basic principles for living together as a group. And that's out of Gladding. The overlap between legal and ethical could be like community, state, national. I'm thinking like weed could be one. It's legal in the state of Ohio, but federally it's not. And we get federal funds at Central State. Therefore, they don't allow it on campus, or we could lose all of our federal money, which would probably close our ass. So that's why knowing those are good, where to find them, legal action, and then prevention. So the best form of legal action, oftentimes people say, is prevention. Like find ways to treat and train prevention, like train you as social workers better so you don't get sued. So you know all of these things going into the field. So summary, this is the first half of the PowerPoint, but it suggests standards of conduct based on a set of professional values. Autonomy. So to be autonomous, a lot of times we want the client to do it for themselves. Like we can empower them to empower themselves, but we don't want to do every single thing for our client. Like we want to teach them right, so that, again, you can set them free and let them go at the end, where you're not doing every little piece of paperwork for them. You're not doing their SNAP benefits paperwork. Like you can get it for them and help them start it and talk them through it. Beneficence means to do good. Non-malfeasance means to do no harm. Justice, fidelity, and veracity are like honor and truth. So the law is a body of rules recognized by a state or community as binding on its members. There is overlap between ethics and law, and group workers must be familiar with both in order to make the kind of decisions necessary to promote effective outcomes for their members. So like each one of you from a different state, if you practice in your home state, when you're done, just make sure you know what they are. And a lot of times your agencies will train you. So the whole point when you get a job, even when you get your internship training, they'll tell you everything you need to know. Have any of you worked for a social work type of agency yet? Are there any jobs? What's that?
I work with social workers.
Oh, yeah. I think you told us that.
Yeah.
Where is it at again?
In Jamestown.
And is it far from here?
No, it's 15 minutes.
Is it? Why do I not know where that is?
Really?
Yeah.
That's because like normally coming here, there's not how you turn by Wilberforce. You turn to get on the highway. Instead of turning to get on the highway, you keep straight.
Oh, so it's right off of that 35 somewhere?
Yeah.
Oh. On the way to Springfield almost?
Oh, I'm not a driver. I don't know how to get nowhere. Y'all know GPS.
How do you get there though? So you were like, hey, hey Siri, take me to
Yes, it's in my maps as work.
the nursing home. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Take
Or-
me straight to- I ain't gonna lie, my phone kind of creepy, so every time I get in the car, it try to take me to work anyway.
It knows where you're
It be
going.
like,
Mom tried to take me home.
it be
Right.
like work, and I'd be like, no, boo, I'm going to the store. Like,
Well, and that is AI infiltrating our lives. Like the artificial intelligence knows your moves, knows your next, you can turn it off. It is handy because it knows where I'm going next to work. Okay, so some resources are the Association for Group Work Professional Standards. They are separate from, say, like social work. Association for Specialists in Group Work, best practice guidelines. You got the American Counseling Association Code of Ethics, and then, well, yeah, the Ohio Counselor, Social Worker, Marriage, and Family Therapist Laws and Rules. So that's our first half we're getting through. Now, multicultural. And this was a big one when I was in my doctoral program because did I ever tell any of you the doctoral program that I did at the University of Cincinnati? It was rooted in ecological counseling and like looking at systems theory. Our first class we met in Panera. And then for the rest of the semester, we met every Wednesday in Panera. It was so weird. It was in grad school. I went to a classroom every day, and she's like, "We're just all going to meet at Panera at 4." I'm like, "Is this graduate school?"
that's how it is.
And that's how it was. And so, relating it back to multicultural issues, I'll do the learning objectives first. So by end of the week, you should be able to identify multicultural issues related to group work. It says asses one's own awareness. Assess? It's missing an S. That's awesome. One's own awareness and understanding of cultural values and competence and comfort for multicultural considerations in group work. Let's see if I can save it too. So here's a bunch of places diversity exists: race, ethnicity, language, culture, gender, socioeconomic status, sexual orientation, religion, ableism, and more. So in that class we met, one of our first assignments was to assess, not asses, assess the community of Burundi, Africa, the country of Burundi, Africa, and come back with a report. And we're like, why is she having us do a report on Burundi, Africa? And maybe I've told you all some of this story before, but we all came back, reported like it's been at civil war for a long time. There's a lot of them. Yeah, the war was between the Hutus and Tutsis. They moved into some safety camps in 2008. So I guess I'm dating myself, 18 years ago. The great financial crisis happened and they had to close those safety camps. So the Catholic Charities took it from there and flew them to the United States, and they got asylum status as refugees in the U.S. And she told us, by the way, there are 300 living a mile and a half away from here in Panera. And I want you all to go as graduate students to assess the community, see what they need, and come up with an intervention. And that was our group project.
So I had to drive 300 miles for a group project?
So it was 3 miles away.
Oh, you said 3 miles?
It was 3 miles.
Oh.
Yeah. It was like, it's University of Cincinnati. Did any of you visit there last semester? 2 of you, 3 of you, 4. So they're up on a hill, and then the Burundian community was just straight down that hill over I-75, and then there they are. So what our assessment looked like for them was defining and acknowledging their culture. So we asked them with a translator what they need, what they want. The 2 major things the majority of them came up with was they want to learn English and they wanted a space to grow their own food. And we're like, okay, that seems doable. We started ESL class every Monday, and we'd teach whoever showed up and came. We did develop a theory of refugee resettlement out of this. That's what my dissertation I wrote on, the theory of refugee resettlement and techniques of how to resettle. So if somebody comes here, their asylum status, Catholic Charities helps them get housing, food stamps, even Medicare and Medicaid for several months they get it for. But our goal was to acculturate them. It used to be called assimilation, which means make them similar, but acculturation means they keep their culture, but they learn how to blend and live here in the United States. And they did it pretty well. So we taught them English. Many of them got jobs at local Amazon areas and warehouses. Some went to school and became nurses. And then for the green garden, we got them a space to grow their own food on like our little half acre at St. Leo's. And we even got connected with a $250,000 grant to give us food, land, and tools and grow and sell our food at Findlay Market. So it gave them their first job. But speaking on culture, I had no idea what to expect. Like probably most of us in America don't know what Burundi is all about. Anybody know where Burundi, Africa is? It's like Central Africa. And I didn't know until I looked it up. So we had to do all this research, understand their culture. So it encompasses the values, beliefs, and behaviors shared by a group of people. Broadly defined, culture takes into consideration the demographic variables, age, and gender. Diversity competent group counselors are able to explore the impact of cultural factors on all of their clients in all aspects of their lives. They're diversity competent in beliefs, attitudes, knowledge, and skills. So we noticed many of them were shy to go to the pastoral counselor, and it apparently is very cultural there to give everything to God. Like, you don't see a counselor, you don't see a social worker. God's got this. I'm going to church. We're going to pray about it. It's going to go away. So we had to let them know that by seeing a counselor, you're not like kicking God out or excluding God, and the counselor could help you think through some things. But that was one of the big cultural things that came up. Like, others like service dimensions, and this is with every client you'll ever see. So we are, as social workers, preparing ourselves to see somebody on any race, religion, gender, anything that makes us different. And surface dimensions, it could be music and food. Deeper dimension, it could be faith, religion, and values. Language, so we didn't need translators for some. When I wrote my dissertation, I had to interview with a translator, then transcribe it all into English, which was crazy to do that kind of research. It took forever. Some of the visible ones could be race and gender, and then invisible could be ethnicity, sexual orientation, social class. So those are some of the culture things that come up. I do not think this one works very well anymore. So working effectively with diverse populations. So defining and acknowledging culture. Another example, I worked at Claremont Recovery Center, and we had a prevention group, we had a parents group in our day treatment. And one of the trainings was the Appalachian population. Before going out there, I was aware of Appalachia, but the training was so good to fine tune and help us understand the people we're going to be working with. And there's both Black and white Appalachians. There's 80% of people in Claremont County, Ohio are Appalachian. So it's mostly like the Appalachian Mountain region, Kentucky. And then from that training, like knowing, one interesting thing was they told us if we did home visits, they're like, you don't want to like always turn them down for eating with them or having a cup of tea or having a cup of coffee, is that's like how they build you into their culture and community and like build trust. So like you do a home visit, you might sit there and have coffee for an hour with them. And, just finding ways to be open-minded, learn about it, and not be as judgmental. And that's hard to keep like an open mind because we see crazy ass shit as social workers. I don't know how else to say it. We see some crazy. One time I was finishing a guy out there and they were graduating the drug and alcohol Claremont Recovery Center. I think he was 18. It was a trailer park. I had to go out and for like a, graduation or final session, I think I brought him a pizza. I remember walking into the trailer and you could see straight through to the grass. Like it might have been November, so the grass was still green, but I walk in, you can see like there's no insulation. It's like open. It was cold. They had no source of heat. They had their oven on and open when I walked in. That's how they were heating the whole house. I remember setting the pizza down. They were excited. They ate some. I was eating one. And I forget what it was, if I had like my hand on the table or something, and I lifted up and there's a cockroach on my hand. And I'm like, and I somehow kept my cool. I think I was like this, and I'm like listening to him, I remembered to finish my piece of pizza with the other hand. I didn't want to touch the cockroach hand on the pizza. And I got out, we finished okay. I didn't make a big scene. It's okay if you do. You react how you react, but it's just like that culture, the Appalachian culture, like different places they live in. Anybody ever been to Appalachia or heard about it?
It's haunted.
Huh?
It's haunted.
It's a big ass region though. We're talking West Virginia, Kentucky.
It's like really old. It's extremely old.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Appalachian Trail spans from Georgia all the way through Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York. So that's all the Appalachian Mountain region. So, and a lot of them were coal mining in those mountains. So to get energy and heat our homes 100 years ago, the main thing we had was coal. So there was tons of work in those mountains. When we changed energy policy in like the 1970s, they closed down a lot of those coal mines. You found a lot of Appalachians move into the inner city. So in Cincinnati, we have a ton in Over the Rhine. Anybody from Cincinnati here? So Over the Rhine initially was full of Appalachians, both black and white. And I worked with the Over the Rhine Community Housing. It was 20 years ago when they were called Ray Street 10 Organization Co-op. And they brought some of the behaviors from the mountains into the apartments here. So one example was like a whole entire apartment full of stuff stacked to the ceiling. Like, do they still have the movie or daytime show called Hoarders? You guys ever watch Hoarders?
I be watching that when I need motivation.
It was exactly like that. And a lot of them say the history of it was when the recession and depression came, especially in the mountain region, that a lot of people feared that they would run out of spare parts for the washing machine. So they keep an old washer and dryer in their yard, or they'd run out of spare parts on their car. So they have 3 cars in their backyard, and it just starts stacking up. Now, when you get into the inner city, you don't have the big yards to fill up. So they had a whole room. We had to shovel it out. There was like dead rats in there. We wore a mask. That was some tough work. That was almost as bad as the crackheads we had to ask to leave kindly. And there was like a thin film of crack smoke on all them windows, like all yellowy. But the hoarder was tough too, as it had like old half-eaten cans of food and like trash and dirt and old National Geographic stacked up. So every job brings about its different challenges. And you want to myth bust, so discussing differences, understanding the homogeneity in groups, the role of differences in task and psychoeducational groups, like with people that don't always go to counselors. Men are traditionally told that we don't go to counselors either. So like myth busting with even men, like it's okay to share your feelings, and then the theory and culture behind it. So. Any questions at this point? I see I'm getting blowed up for some reason. I have no idea why. They want to see if we made it to my vote for full professor is now in front of 7 faculty members.
Faculty members here.
I think there's only 1 from Chase. So all the other ones are like, what are they? SESTA, What are the other colleges? I should know this.
College of
Business.
Yeah, I think there is one from business. So we'll see. It's all about, it's always a stressful time for everybody. But I can see Dr. Rajiv Swami called me to see if I got it or not. I just don't know. I don't see any fresh emails. Usually it pops up. So multicultural group work. So you could have, again, the recruitment and screening, planning and strategies, leadership, self-awareness, increasing awareness and ability, consultation, immersion, checking in, language training. Anybody here speak a second language? You don't have to either. Isn't that nice? We get translators in social work. It could help your job. I know there's some who've been trained with child welfare, and they did good with 2 languages. So, okay, more aspects of culture. Substance use is part of culture. Like growing up, Catholic, German, Irish, alcohol is a big part of our family events. Everything we do, like funerals, you're drinking. Weddings, you're drinking. Christmas, you're drinking. Sunday dinner, you're drinking. And it's just, and some people, maybe only 10, 15% have alcohol use disorder, but they have that once they start, they can't stop, like blackout drinking. So it might only be 1 out of 5 people, but something to be aware of, because your clients could bring this to you. Your setting, you could have practical implications. So like therapy groups may involve clashes of culture or subculture. Could you guys ever see that happening in any internship you want to work at? I know when the Burundians moved into Cincinnati, they had nothing. They had the clothes on their back. So they left a civil war in Africa. And so when they moved in, they got a lot of help from Catholic Charities. They would help them connect to Cincinnati Metropolitan Housing Authority. They get a bed, they get silverware, they get a can opener. That was a big thing. They didn't even know how to use a can opener. So they would like take a knife and stab into the can and cut it open. So we got them all can openers, just simple things that we don't think of. So we grew up with can openers, but they didn't have them over there. There was clashes as the culture there when they moved in. They're like, why are they getting all this free shit? We want like a bed and forks and knives and spoons and can openers. So they actually started getting beat up or robbed. So there had to be like community intervention to talk to the folks. Like, these people came here with only the clothes on their back. They're not just getting free shit eternally. Like they'll probably get one free thing to start their life here, brand new, 1,000 miles from their home, and hope it goes well. So that was one clash we had to deal with in the community. Interpersonal learning. Dr. Yalom is a famous group guy. It's the process through which group members learn to accept that not everyone in the group holds their same assumptions and beliefs or customs or rules or norms. And another example, again, is somebody who doesn't believe in counseling, and maybe they're court ordered and they sit through the group because they want to get off probation, but they don't believe any of this bullshit's going to help. They're like, yeah, this group is BS, but I'm going to finish it. So therapists must prepare for their work by enhancing their own awareness of possible dynamics associated with culture and develop a sensitivity to address them. I still get people on probation and I let them know, I'll get you through this. We'll graduate you successfully. And if your main and only goal is to get off probation, that's okay. I hope you get more out of it than just getting off probation, but sometimes that's the main thing. And, you guys get to be the performers pretty soon. So we get used to an undergraduate where you can like sit back and watch college like it's a movie, like you can just absorb all the info. But that's why these practice classes, we have you get up here and perform and lead the groups. Because as social workers, we do get out there and perform. And it's all about working with others and action. And so one last thing we all do is examine our own cultural background in terms of assumptions, beliefs, customs, rules, norms, and habits And that's the first step of the process. So just seeing how we, compared to the people we work with, which more often than not, they're all going to be different. The cool part is humanity at the same time. We have our basic needs. So we all need to have a warm house and a full belly every night. We all have to get our needs met in many different ways. So sharing those common bonds can help when feeling stuck in a group. So we're finishing up efficiently here now. So the summary is culture encompasses the value and beliefs and behaviors shared by groups of people. Broadly defined, culture takes into consideration demographic variables, age, gender, residence, status variables like social, educational, economic, and affiliations, formal and informal. And then I want to get you guys a sign-in sheet. Dimensions of culture, which include surface and deeper level dimensions, as well as visible and invisible dimensions. And then self-awareness is a necessary step in the process of developing multicultural competence. So it just has us make sure, kind of comes back to self-care. And you'll get sick of me doing the self-care PowerPoint. I'll probably do it next week, but it reminds me every time I have to do self-care to do the work that I do. And when I don't, stuff goes bad quickly. Like you've got to take care of yourself before you can ever address and take care of others. And when, we have personal things piling up and so many things going on, like, parents getting hurt or kids getting in trouble or, outside things. Sometimes you do need to double down on the self-care. Like you got to double down on the self-care because your head will explode, like literally. So we'll do the self-care PowerPoint next week again, even if you guys are sick of it, because I need to be reminded of it. I think that's it is 23 of 23. Any questions? I know that's me talking the whole damn time, but everything's
Do you
digital.
have access to this PowerPoint?
I could send it to you. I bet you. Ooh, there it is. Look at that. Boom. Don't you love how everything is AI nowadays?
Oh,
Is that creepy?
Sometimes I'll be like, I'm not
I've
gonna
learned I text like not so professional all the time. Like
I was about to say, I think I use it for like
the goodness of stuff, right?
Yeah.
I think I learned how to text more professional.
My AI can't replace me damn near, so I'm just gonna shut up.
PowerPoint. Yeah, you got access to it.
thank you.
Hell, I even can put in Cliff Notes for you. Because they draw them up through this thing. Oh, I didn't have that open. Maybe I did get a vote. Let's see. Holy shit. That's a lot. Sam's Backcountry.
Here it goes. You got 5 minutes.
Did
you
All
send
right.
it to the whole class?
I can. I'm going to wait till it sends me through the announcements. I'll send it. So how long does it take artificial intelligence to write up a summary of what you just, there it is. Nope, not yet.
quite
Is it fast?
Yeah,
Unless the
Just
internet's
blink.
bad.
It'll be
Right.
fine.
It's through Zoom Room. So that's what I'm waiting on. I thought these had a refresher too. Or you can refresh your email. Maybe it came through the phone. Thank you. Have a good one. See you later. Enjoy the weekend. Don't get snowed out.
Man.
Oh, I hope
that's
not.
not storm.
There's a lot of snow coming.
They said like 10
Oh.
inches. I will not be
You're not going to work? Go get snowed in at work, so they have to pay you for 24 hours straight. They got food there, right?
Have a good rest of your
Yes.
day.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Stay out of the snow.
I definitely will.